that's why I love playing with Bob Weir so much.
Yeah.
I love playing with Bobby. Songs are incredible to play. They roll off your fingers like butter, man. They're just so beautifully written. And even stuff that are you a Deadhead or not? Do you know the songs?
I'm a bit. I've seen Dead & Co. a couple times. My brother's a huge Deadhead. He knows everything.
So there are songs that I had to learn, like Saint of Circumstance, that just have what seem to be all these difficult things thrown in for the sake of being difficult. And I remember charting out Saint of Circumstance and being mad at Bobby. Like, why do you have to do, what is this? Why is this here? Until you get the full picture. Then you realize it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And our Estimated Profit is a reggae song in 7. But
come on,
once you internalize it and you get it, or Terrapin Station's got all these odd things in there. Once you learn it and you stop thinking about it and you don't count the bars, you just know how the song goes.
Yeah,
it's brilliant, and they're so much fun to play, and the audience is so great.
Nice.
You can feel them. They come. Let's just say tuned up for the experience.
Yeah. Balloons ready.
Well, I think they're on mushrooms and stuff. So they're doing things that that already are enabling them to feel like they're part of
they're letting go.
A whole. Though everything's connected. There's a oneness to everything, and they can taste the notes.
Yeah.
And you feel this group of people like pulsating as one with kind of this collective ecstasy. Right?
Yes.
And it comes back to you, makes you play differently, and then you start feeding each other, and you get some centrifugal force going. And a couple times a night, you could blow the roof off the motherfucker.
Wow.
It's just incredible.
I gotta come.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why people follow the Dead for years, because you'll always get 2 or 3 of those moments.
Yeah.
And you'll get 2 or 3 train wrecks. And that's part of the experience. They know you're trying to give them the moment.
At my last house, my neighbor was Bernie Cahill.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Bernie invited me to Dead & Co. at the beginning of Dead & Co. at the Bowl. There was a couple nights at the Bowl.
I remember that.
And it was amazing. Oh my God. And I brought my brother who's a Deadhead who goes and sees like Further and everything else. He goes and sees everything. So he's definitely seen you with Bob. And that really opened my eyes, and I loved it. I loved what John brought to it. And I heard, is it true that you introduced John Mayer to Bob Weir?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. When I was working on, I've done 3 albums with John. The first one was Born and Raised,
which is an incredible album.
Yeah, thank you.
And one of my brother's favorites albums. I keep talking about my little brother. But.
Cool. Good.
Love that album.
Yeah, I'm proud of that one, man.
Yeah.
I get in the car and drive with him, to the studio and stuff. And he always had the Grateful Dead channel on Sirius on, or he had cassettes of gigs, and he could identify. No, that's not 78 because Jerry's playing through this pedal or something like that. And I didn't see that coming, but he was a huge fan. So, I got the job at Blue Note, and maybe, 2014 or something, Bobby and Mickey came to see me about putting out some of their solo stuff on Blue Note. Oh, John was downstairs. He had locked out Capitol Studios and was writing songs there. So I called him up. I said, "You better come up here."
You won't believe who's in my office.
Yeah, and he came up, and they clicked.
Did you tell him, or did he just walk in? Did he know that it was Bob Weir and Mickey Hart in your office?
I don't remember. I don't think so. But he came up.
That's so great. That's so great.
And he was very eloquent about how much he loved the Grateful Dead and why. Yeah. And they were kind of taken aback. They were surprised. So they invited him, well, come on up and play sometime. So I drove up there with him. We got a couple of Airstreams parked in the parking lot of Bobby's studio, and we stayed about 4 days.
Where is that?
It's up in Marin.
Oh, nice.
And then they just jammed, and Bill Kreutzmann was there.
Amazing.
And there were various bass players. Mike Gordon was there for a couple of days.
Nice.
I played one day.
Amazing. Was this before you were playing with Bob?
Yeah.
This is before that.
And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't a Deadhead, and I wasn't prepared for it. John, to his credit, man, he was starting to write songs, and he was using Capitol Studios for that with an eye towards making a new record.
Mm-hmm.
And when the opportunity cemented itself for him to go play with those guys 3 months later, he shut down the record, cleared out all his stuff, went home, and cracked the code on Grateful Dead, and particularly what was behind what Jerry was doing. He knew not to do karaoke, Jerry.
Of course.
But what is he actually doing? What modes is he using?
Wow.
Why does this stuff make people feel so good? And he really studied. And I didn't learn a single song. So I got there to play, and I'm stumbling I'm playing way too many notes. And I made the Grateful Dead sound like a Dead cover band. It was terrible, man. So a couple of years later, when Bobby called me up out of nowhere, he called, it was like 2000, whatever year we started, 2018, something like that. He called me up, he said, Rob Wasserman came to me in a dream last night. And Rob was the guy who introduced me to Bobby in the 90s. Right?
Wow. And
Rob said, the reason I introduced you to Don was because he's supposed to take my place in the band when I'm gone. He said, so you want to start a trio with me and Jay Lane? I was like, yeah. He said, all right. So we picked a date like in a month. And this time I wasn't going to be an idiot.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to New York and locked myself in a room at the Bowery Hotel. And I got a bass from David Gage in the room. And I said, Bob, just tell me 6 songs to get into, right?
Yeah.
So that because it's too massive an undertaking.
You can't just choose from that catalog.
So he gave me a list of 6 songs, and I just played them till they were etched into my soul.
Wow.
And I flew from the Bowery to Marin, right? And went up there and played with him. And I walked in, and of course he didn't call any of the 6 songs, but we started jamming on an A chord. Just me, Jay, and Bobby. We did it for about 30 minutes. And at the end, he said, all right, it's a band. And he called Bernie. And he said, book us. And but that was something I learned from John. Like, don't go in unprepared.
Wow. John was prepared. So then you guys did the weekend with John, and then that was it, like Dead & Co.
Yeah, but at the end of the 4th day, they came in. They said, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
You'll be a partner. You'll be in the thing. And they called Jeff, who'd played with, at least played with Bobby. I think he did more stuff, And they got O'Teal, and it was great.
Oh, man. It's such a great ensemble.
Yeah,
dude.
Go with Elmo. 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 This is the stuff, man.